Hi everyone, this is Avi from Elite IB Tutors, and I'm here to talk to you a bit about mock exams or end of year exams or summer exams, whatever you call them. Basically the exams you do at the end of your first year. So they're a really good way of consolidating your knowledge, seeing what you've learnt in your first year and preparing for second year. And the particularly important thing about these mocks, which I think a lot of people forget, is that they do contribute to your predicted grades for your university applications, particularly if you're intending to apply to university in this country, where you will submit your application this autumn. So mock exams are important. Some people just treat them as a bit of a throwaway, something that doesn't really matter. But they are a really good chance for you to see where you currently are in terms of your achievement, and how you can progress over the coming year before your actual exams. So hi there, we'll wait a little while before actually answering any questions, wait to actually gather some viewers, but I can start by talking through my own experiences of mock exams and of my first year of the IB. More generally. So we'll just wait until some people, great. So I think we've got one viewer at the moment. Do share this with your friends if you think it might be useful. Like, comment, we're keen to spread the word to as many people as possible. Hi again, nice to hear from you. So just feel free to ask any questions you might have. At this point, you can also just listen to me talk a bit about my experiences, and then maybe ask some questions based on that. So I can start off again by giving my IB background. So I finished the IB in 2012. So when I was doing my mock exams, it was summer 2011. I did higher level biology, chemistry, French B, and standard level maths, English and psychology. And for me, mock exams were quite a scary prospect in a way, because it was my first experience of doing exams in all 6 of my subjects at once. I'd had regular topic tests, particularly in the sciences and maths, throughout the first year, but I hadn't had to revise a significant amount of anything in one go, and especially not for 6 subjects, so I didn't really fully know how to approach it. And I think that is one of the best things about mock exams, is they give you your first experience of having to deal with 6 subjects at once in the IB, which is of course something that you will have to do in your second year when you come to take your final exams. So I think for me, it was firstly quite daunting, because I became aware of the amount of content I would have to learn, and especially because at this point you're still learning new content while you're being examined on existing content. That is one nice thing about the final exams in comparison to the mock exams, because with the final exams at least you've covered everything you need to, and you know exactly what the material is, whereas for your mock exams you're only halfway through the course, and not only will you develop more knowledge over the remaining year, but you'll also be able to refine your skills, so you'll become better at maths, for example, or better at writing an essay. So I think that is something to bear in mind. The mock exams are very much a reflection of where you are at that point, but with the potential for development. Teachers will vary in terms of the way that they mark your mock exams. So some will mark the exams as if you were doing the final exams, so they'll be quite harsh, but when they give you your predicted grades, they'll up your grade, because they'll recognise that you will produce better work in the real thing than you would there. Other teachers will mark more generously when it comes to the mock exams, so they'll mark remembering that you're only 1 year through the IB. So say if you were given a 6 in a particular paper in your mock exams, that isn't to say that you would get a 6 if you produce that work in the final exam. It's more a reflection of your capacity to develop over the coming year. But either way, teachers will use will use mock exam grades as a determinant of your university predicted grade. We'll just wait until... hello again. So there are other factors at play, so your teachers will also consider things like any internal assessments that you've done by this point and work you've produced throughout the year in terms of your maybe tests after individual topics. But the mock exams will play a significant part, so you can't get away with just failing all of your mock exams. I mean, if you do, teachers do recognise that you have bad days and that you can often do a lot better than your performance there, but do take the mock exams reasonably seriously because they will contribute to your predicted grades. So I would say the difficulty really is balancing that and recognising that you have to take mock exams seriously. Balancing that with other things going on, so deadlines, for example, internal assessment deadlines, or TOK, maybe starting on the extended essay. Because another good thing about the final exams is that by the time you come to take your final exams, you've done all of that, you've ticked off all of your other deadlines. But at the end of your first year of the IB, you're still very much in the process of balancing everything. So do devote a sufficient amount of time to revising and plan your revision in advance, but remember you have other deadlines going on and you don't want to sacrifice your performance in that coursework, for example, for the sake of your mock exams. So it's a really difficult balance there, because yes, I'm saying they're important, they count towards your predicted grades, but what I'm also saying is that they're not everything, and you do have other work to be doing at the same time. I'm aware I've talked quite a bit at you, so does anyone have any questions at this point? No? Okay. I can keep talking if no one has any specific questions. So let's think about how to approach revision, because as I say, for most of you, this will be your first time having to deal with this many subjects and this level of content. Yes, you've probably come from a background where you've had to do exams before, so if you did GCSEs or IGCSEs, you will have had to take exams in multiple subjects, but obviously in the IB, it's the level of content is greater, and also the difficulty of that content is greater, so it's not really on par with what you will have done before isn't really on par with the IB, which is tricky. It's quite a scary concept, as I mentioned, but that's why it's so important to plan your revision and to not just kind of start it without any sort of strategy, because you will find that it's very easy to get lost in one subject, maybe one subject that you find particularly difficult, or actually maybe a subject that you really enjoy, that you just like revising, at the detriment of other subjects, and then it comes to a few days before the exam and you realise that you haven't planned your revision well. So I think things like making revision timetables and schedules, it sounds cliche and you'll have people say it at you a lot, but it really is important. Even if then you don't stick rigidly to that schedule, at least you have some idea in your mind that you need to do this many hours of this subject, or you need to get this many topics done in a day, even if they overrun the time allocated. We'll just give it a little bit more time and see if we get any other viewers. any questions that anyone wants to ask. Hi. Any questions anyone wants to ask? Hi, we've got some more viewers. So this is just your opportunity to ask me anything you want about mock exams. So feel free. I've already provided some context and talked at you a bit. So now really is your chance. Sorry about the noise outside. Now is your chance to ask any questions you might have about any specific aspect of mock exams, or hi Charlotte, or whether it's more general approaches to revision, to organising your time, to dealing with exam stress. So do let me know if you have any specific questions at all. In the meantime, I can talk a little bit more about my experience. So my mock exams, I personally found them a really positive experience in a way, because it was kind of a testing ground for me to see where I was at, but also really to experiment with different revision techniques, which I'd sort of been doing over the course of my first year whenever I had a little topic test in, say, biology or chemistry. But I hadn't really had to put that into practice across so many subjects before, and I suppose there's also the difficulty of balancing a very systematic subject requiring a lot of practice, like maths or chemistry, with some of the more content-heavy subjects like biology and particularly psychology. I remember being quite stressed about that because the syllabus is so broad, so I didn't really know how to constrain my revision and where to stop. And then I suppose something like English, where we only had to do paper 1 at the end of our first year, so we just had to do the unseen commentary. And the fear of that, of not really knowing if I could revise at all, and if so, how to revise. It turns out you can't really revise for an unseen, but you can prepare. I can give more advice on that if you'd like it. And then I suppose French was the remaining subject, and again with whether it's in first or second year, you can't cram a language in the way that you might be able to a science. So each subject posed its individual scariness, and the mock exams are really your first chance to have a go at particular revision techniques, see what works, see what doesn't. Sorry, there's still a lot of noise outside. And if it doesn't work at this stage, obviously you do want to do well in your mocks. As I said, they are important. But your teachers recognise that you're not going to have it all perfect at this point. And it's better to try out new revision techniques now and see what works for you and what doesn't, than leaving it till the real thing and realising you have no idea how to go about learning all of this material from the 2 years. Okay. Any questions? Hi, feel free to submit any questions you may have at this stage. So, we don't currently have any viewers. There's one viewer. So really do come to me with any questions you might have. Obviously I am happy to continue just talking at you, but this is quite a valuable opportunity to actually ask questions, whether more general or more specific. And that could be really beneficial. Maybe other people have the same questions and they're just too afraid to ask them. So be bold and ask those questions now. So let's think about a situation where your mock exams maybe don't go as well as you would have hoped, which is obviously disappointing. But firstly, it's valuable learning experience that you can really see which areas are your weaknesses, where you need to target for improvement over the coming year. If nothing else, it's just a really good chance to sit down and actually do a full-length IB exam paper, which chances are you won't have done before in such a formal exam setting. Even just having the experience of sitting in the exam hall, being under that time pressure, getting used to having invigilators there, it takes some of the fear out of the final thing. And I know that for me, I although my mocks went well on the whole, I think for both maths and English I didn't perform as well as I would have hoped. And that was frustrating, but my teachers did bear that in mind. They recognised that I think in English I had made a silly mistake that basically affected my whole interpretation of the poem. In the heat of the exam, it does happen and it's frustrating, but my teacher recognised that that wasn't representative of my abilities, and that as long as I was careful in the real thing, that wouldn't repeat itself. And then for maths, I think everyone did quite badly. Which was partly because our teacher threw in a question that looked nothing like anything we'd ever seen before. It was an IB question, but just not something we'd previously tackled. So that in itself was a really good experience of just trying something new, seeing that it didn't really work in the context of the exam, but learning how to do that such that I was really confident to take it on if it came up in the real thing. And I think having that experience of things not going as well as hoped, even when you're well prepared, that can be a really good learning experience, because if you make a mistake like that in a mock exam, you know you won't make it in the real thing, because it really cements your learning. Just check the time. So my predicted grades were almost the same as what I got in my mocks, but particularly in the case of maths and English, my teachers did bear in mind the fact that maybe things hadn't gone as well as they'd hoped, and that's okay. I know someone who scored, I think, about 32 in her mocks, not including the 3 extra points, of course, and ended up getting 44 points overall with the 3 extra points. So that's a huge leap, and that just shows how much you can improve over the course of the year. And then in that case, yes, her teachers did bear in mind that maybe she'd been doing better throughout the year, and that she was likely to achieve better than the 32 she got in her mocks. But if you do really well in your mocks, then that can be a good way to boost your predicted grade. If you're worried before that, maybe you've been kind of coasting a little bit throughout the year, mocks are really your chance to kind of step up to the mark and show that you can work hard and that you do know your stuff. So I think for a lot of people, it can be the first experience of having to think forward to the final exams and get yourself in that exam focused mindset. Right, we haven't got much longer now, so if you have any questions at all, now is the time to ask me. No? Okay. So do you remember that we can offer support through private tuition? So we can offer support both online throughout the world and face-to-face if you're based in central London or in the Geneva area, and to a more limited extent in certain other parts of the world. And we also we do run a number of courses. We don't have any coming up in the short term in terms of full courses, but we do have a maths standard workshop coming up this Saturday, the 12th of May, at our offices in Fulham, in London. So if you want a chance to really look through actual exam questions and applying your knowledge, as well as solidifying your understanding of what you've covered in maths so far, that could be a really good opportunity. It is a workshop for no more than 7 students. You'll benefit from really targeted support from one of our expert tutors who is very familiar with the IB Maths SL syllabus and has taught it many times before. So we have that on offer, and as I say, we're always happy to offer private tuition, either online or face-to-face, so you're very welcome to get in touch with us about that. And you can always send us a question if you have any questions about anything I've discussed with regards to mock exams, or indeed any other aspect of the IB. You can contact us at contact@eliteib.co.uk, and we'd be more than happy to answer your questions. And on our resources page of our website, we have lots of useful resources such as study guides and general exam advice, and some more subject-specific advice, as well as support in the university application process. So there's a huge amount out there on our website, and we would encourage you to get in touch with us if you have any further queries or concerns. So this is your final chance to ask any questions you might have at this stage. No? Anything you want. It doesn't have to be about mock exams. If there's any other little part of the IB you want to ask about, but this is, of course, a mock exam focused video. Well, in that case, then I'm going to take this opportunity to sign off. But it's been lovely speaking to you. It's a shame we haven't actually had questions from you this time, because it's always great to interact with students. But if you think of anything that you... Hello Bruce, hi. Can I help you at all? Do you have any questions you'd like to ask? Anything at all? No? So I was just saying that we offer private tuition, both online and face-to-face. And we also run a range of revision courses. So our next major courses coming up are the pre-IB and mid-IB courses this summer, where you really have a chance to, if it's pre-IB, to prepare for the challenges of the IB and start to develop some of the key skills you need. Hi Bruce, I'm Client and Operations Manager at Elite IB. So I'm one of the team members responsible for organising tuition. So if someone gets in touch and they want support in a particular subject, I will liaise between them and our tutors to ensure they have a tutor well suited to their needs. And I also deal with other aspects of the business, such as recruitment. And in addition to that, I myself tutor. So I tend to tutor biology and chemistry, but have also tutored TOK and the extended essay and psychology. So I do a bit of that as well. So I do quite a range of things. Any other questions? No? So picking up on what I was saying before, we do also have a mid-IB course this summer, which could be really useful for those of you, and I presume you, the viewers, are in your first year of the IB. So it's, again, a really good way of consolidating your knowledge of first year and ensuring you're well equipped to take on second year, which is challenging. You'll have a lot of deadlines coming up, as well as balancing that with revision. So really, the mid-IB course is a very effective way to prepare you as best we can to take on those challenges. And as I say, we have our maths workshop coming up on Saturday, the 12th of May, this Saturday, in Fulham, where you can benefit from a small workshop of no more than 7 students and really solidify your understanding of standard level maths and learn how to apply that to exam questions. And we can certainly offer online or private tuition in addition across a whole range of subjects. So do let us know if we can be of any support at all. And that almost takes me to the end of the session. So if there are any questions that you wanted to ask in this session but you didn't feel able to, or if you think of anything after the session, you're welcome to email us at contact@eliteib.co.uk, or to call us. You'll find our number on our website, and we'd be more than happy to discuss our support options with you and to see what we can do to help you. So if you're taking your mock exams soon, I'd like to wish you the best of luck in those. If you happen to know someone who is doing their final exams, then wish them luck for their second year, because that will be you in the not too distant future. Yes, it's been lovely talking to you, and I hope you enjoy the sunshine if the weather where you are is as good as it is in the UK at the moment. Right. Thanks very much. Bye.